Hi Kevin. I'm going to be demonstrating the functionality of my project. So I created a graphical messenger app that supports multiple users and has a GUI. So the actual code for the project is split into two different projects. So I have the server side of the application in this window, and I have the client side of the application in this window. And that's because the client side in particular needs to be packaged inside of a jar file to make it easy to distribute and whatnot. But for the server side of the application, because there's only ever going to be one of them, and ideally I want to keep control of that, I'm comfortable just running the application in my my IDE, my code editor. So I'm going to start the server up quick. You can see server is up in the bottom left. And then we're going to create our executable jar file. In order to do this, we're going to use Maven, which is like a build orchestration tool. It handles my dependencies and whatnot. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use Maven clean to tear down the existing build that I have. And then we're going to use Maven install. And what Maven install is going to do is it's going to create a target file, and then using a plugin called Maven Shade, it's going to package our client-side code inside with all the dependencies that it needs to run on someone else's computer. So you can see here's the target file. We're just going to open this in our Explorer. And the bottom one is just the code. You can notice it's only 18 kilobytes, but the top one is the code alongside all the dependencies that it needs to run on someone else's computer. So like I could share this with anyone, and they will also be able to connect with the server. All right, so for the sake of this demonstration, all of this will be communicating over localhost, but all you need to do in order to make it fully networked is just change the IP address from localhost to whatever you want inside Messenger Client. I'll actually show you where to do that real quick. So we go into the client login controller, and all we do is replace localhost with the public IP address of the server. So anyway, here we have our three login screens. The first one, I'm just going to log in like normal. So I'm going to type in my username, type in my password, and I'm in. And actually, while I'm doing this, I'm going to open MySQL Workbench because we're going to want to see that later. For the second one, if you have a username that doesn't exist, it will tell you that. If you do have a username that exists, but you type in an incorrect password, it'll tell you that the password is invalid. But if you do everything right, it will let you in. And then we have these two windows in communication. So I can say hello on this window, it propagates to Tyler's window. Hi in this window, it propagates to the Jacob window. And then for the last one, we're actually going to create an account. So I'm just going to go into MySQL Workbench, which is kind of like a administration software for your database. So I'm going to run this quick, and we can see our tiny little SQL database here with all of our accounts. So we have username in this column, the password in this column. So we're going to create a new account now over here. We'll just call him Walter. Oh, first of all, if you try and create an account that with a username that already exists, it won't let you because we can't have duplicates. The whole point of the authentication is to make sure we only have one unique username per user. But if we do have a unique username and our password is sufficiently complex, if it's not, it won't let us. But if everything is sufficiently complex, then we can create an account, and you can see Walter's in the chat. He can talk to everyone. And if we go over here and execute the database query again, we can see that Walter has been added to our database. And then going back to our windows here, they have all the functionality you would expect of your standard Windows window. So you can drag them around by the top bar, you can minimize them. When you go over, when you have too many messages being displayed at the same time, it will create a scroll pane, so you can scroll around, view previous messages. But also when a new message is sent, it will automatically orient your scroll pane down to the bottom so you don't miss a message. Also, if you close a window, it will let everybody know who has left, and I think that is mostly it. Yeah, so you notice all three windows are in communication. When it closes cleanly, so it continues to run. In order to get that to work, I had to make a custom top bar. Like you can use one that's pre-created for you by JavaFX, which is the graphics library that I use. But if you want more control over the close button, which I needed in order to close down everything cleanly, then you need to create your own top bar, which, I mean, it looks nicer because it's properly themed. So that that is everything. Thank you.